Hi there, I am Patty McMahon. I am the Outreach Director for the Jefferson County Libertarian Party, the Libertarian Party of Jefferson County. And with me is
Ross.
Ross. I'm going to introduce yourself, because by now, like, we've gotten to know each other.
The chair of the Libertarian Party of Jefferson County.
Right, and this is we are moving and plodding forward with our Meet the Candidates series, and tonight our Meet the Candidates series is on the legislative director, because that is another position that is up for election at the Libertarian Convention. And so, Ross, what does the legislative director do?
The legislative director shall be responsible for monitoring activity in the state legislature, communicating with that body, developing legislation or issue-oriented committees, including the appointment of a committee chair, and working with other organizations in the area of mutual concern. Our 2022 state convention. Oh, never mind.
Okay. Okay. So
we'll talk about that later.
Okay. So that looks pretty important. And we have been told that we have a declared candidate. However, as this series has plotted forward, we can say with full conviction, nobody's here. So we're not going to announce the candidate. We have a rumor that we've been told, and we think is a pretty credible rumor. I actually emailed the candidate and asked the candidate if they could be here. They did not respond. I'm assuming that's because they probably didn't check their email, because who checks emails nowadays? So I'm going to assume that that's probably why the candidate isn't here. But there is a rumor that there is somebody running. I hope there's somebody running. Again, we only posted this meeting for about 3 months on the LPCO website. Wait, I have a text, and maybe this is it. Nope, not it. So since we only posted this for 3 months on the LPCO website, we can understand how nobody who is running may have seen it. And so we're just, I've now checked out the efficiency of the readership on the LPCO website. So we may want to talk to whoever becomes the new communications director about maybe pushing that message out. Because I know we have actually been emailing people and texting people and putting it up on our stuff. And I think we can say with full conviction, nobody from Jefferson County is running for these positions that we know of, because if they are and they didn't tell us, but actually that's not true, because we do know that somebody from Jefferson County is running for campaigns, and they will be here tomorrow, because Jefferson County rocks. So we can say when Jefferson County has to represent, Jefferson County represents. So we want to give a full round of applause to Gavin, the treasurer, who so far has been the only person who has shown up. So yay him. So because of that, and we think the legislative director is kind of important, right, Ross? I mean,
yeah, extremely important. Yeah,
because we're a political party, right? I mean, so this is a big deal. So we thought that that maybe we might want to explain what the legislative director does, so that that if anybody gets a chance to meet or talk to a candidate, because the convention is on Saturday, that people may want to know what exactly they're voting for, in case they hear of anybody who's running, or in case the veil of secrecy gets lifted. So Ross, tell me about the legislative director. What does a legislative director do? Because it sounds really important and valuable.
Yeah, I kind of touched on it before, but yeah, basically they monitor the legislation at the state level, and there's a lot. I mean, there's average is about 700 bills per year. So
700 bills per year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. And some of them are pretty lengthy. Some of them aren't a big deal, but some of them are pretty lengthy and a huge deal. And yeah, so it's a huge undertaking, and basically you have to categorize which ones we support, which ones we have basically no opinion on, and which ones we are against. and then figuring out which ones are the worst ones that we oppose or significantly oppose, and which ones are worth going to the state Capitol and testifying either for or against. Because that's extremely effective. Getting a bunch of people to speak at the state Capitol can make a big difference.
Okay, so and then the legislative director is the person who organizes all of this, or are they just a handshaker? I mean, how does that work as the legislative director? Because I'm not really familiar with the legislative director position.
So yeah, basically they'll work with other groups, and they will get to know the legislature or the legislatures and senators, and basically let them know why it's important to vote a certain way, and it can make a huge difference. The other thing they can do is create a committee to help them, because it's a lot of work to go through all those bills. So they can create a committee to help them go through all those. And yeah, I mean, it can be one of the most difficult positions at the state level.
Yeah, it sounds like, because it sounds like you kind of have to be a policy wonk to know this stuff. I mean, because like fundraiser, you have to be like a people person. Outreach, you have to be a people person. Chair, you have to be able to be an organizational kind of person. But legislative director, it sounds like you kind of have to be a policy wonk. You have to understand, like, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill, right? Because I don't understand any of that. But it sounds like you have to actually get that stuff, right?
And being a people person helps too.
Yeah, I guess that would help too, because you're meeting, like, you're meeting politicians. I guess it's, you have to wear both hats. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an easy position. Michael Stapleton did it really well, but it takes a while to learn it. It's not easy. There's some learning curve that goes with it, and it's a lot of work.
So does the legislative director, do they have, are they the ones who write our bills also, or does somebody, or do we write the bills and go to our legislative director with it? I mean, how does that work? Because I actually know somebody who's writing a bill right now, but I don't know if they're like the legislative director is working with them on the bill, or if, you know, the legislative director is writing the bill. I mean, how does that work? Do you know? I mean, if you don't know, I don't know. I mean, so then we'll sit here saying we don't.
Basically, normally the legislature, each individual in the legislature has 5 bills they can introduce per year. So basically the trick is you could come up with a draft of the bill to give to them. And then if they like the idea, they'll include it as one of the 5 that they have. And which typically you want to get at least 2 people sponsoring the bill. It has a lot better chance to pass. And then if you have the draft, they're going to have they have bill writers that work in the Capitol that are going to change it, but hopefully they don't screw it up too much when they do that.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I think the whole legislative part of the party is very interesting, and I didn't know anything about bills until Margot worked on getting that bill through. And I was very surprised at the legislative process, because I thought you just took a bill forward and then everybody voted on it. I was very surprised on how much sausage making was involved. Like, you had to keep going back to get it approved, and there was like this whole committee, and you had to get it just right. If they didn't approve the language, they sent it back to you and you had to rewrite it. And there's like this committee that really worked on it. As a political party, we just can't put forth a bill. Yeah, we have to. I mean, and I thought we could. I was really surprised to find that out, that we just can't do that. That there's like this whole committee, and I'm assuming that's what the legislative director has to work with then.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is another way to get a bill forward, and that is to get it on the ballot and get it voted on by the people. And yeah, that works too. That's a lot of work though, because to actually get it on the ballot, first you have to get it approved through that committee you're talking about, because it's got to be a single subject
Yeah.
bill and things like that. And they've been a lot trickier. They've been a lot stricter than they used to be on that, which is fine. But the other thing is it takes a lot of signatures just to get that on the ballot. I don't have the exact number in front of me. It depends on if it's a constitutional amendment or just a bill, just a legislative item. But so that takes a lot of time and effort to get all the signatures. And in some cases, that's worth it. If it's a major thing that you want to get forward, then it's worth it to do that. And a lot of times you can find a legislature or a member of the legislature that is interested in sponsoring the bill that you're interested in. And that can save some time, but then it has to get passed. And then the governor has to, if the governor doesn't sign it, it's tricky. It is possible to override the veto, but it takes a 2/3 vote. It's kind of like same as it is at the federal level. So it takes a 2/3 vote in the Senate to override a governor veto. And sometimes there's not enough time in the legislative session to do that. So sometimes the legislative session runs out before you can override a veto. So that kind of stinks. It's good that the legislative session ends, but that's the one disadvantage of that.
But that's an important thing for our voters to know. I mean, for the people that are coming to the convention to know when voting for a legislative director, is that we have a part-time legislator, right? I mean, so we don't have a full-time legislator. So we have to be able to make sure that when we vote in our legislative director, that we keep in mind that we also have a part-time legislator. Legislatures. So we can't, who's ever running, they have to be able to dedicate that time to when our legislatures are in session. So for example, I would think like the worst person to vote in, and I don't think anybody's running like this, but would probably be a tax attorney because their busy season is literally going to be during our session, because our session opens on January like 1st or 2nd, like the first week of January. And so I'm thinking that would probably be the worst thing, because that's when people start filing their taxes. So I'm thinking that would be a job, that would be incompatible with being a legislative director. But probably, somebody who does bicycle, mountain bike, trails up in Vail for the summer might be very compatible, because, the trails open up in June and the sessions are closed by June. So, that might be something people might want to consider is, when vetting your candidates on Saturday, that one of the questions you might want to ask is, what's your day job, right?
Yeah, do they actually have the time to do it for those?
Yeah,
you're gonna have 4 months that are very, very busy, and then the rest of the year it's not too bad.
yeah. So I'm thinking that might be important. And what do you see as, like, I mean, because we have just logically time, but what would you think would be another like valuable thing that people might want to be vetting, whoever may be our candidates, if any, if we see anybody on Saturday? What other qualifications should we be looking at or considering?
Probably the other big one that I can think of is experience in hearings.
Oh, hearing.
So that and at the state level it's committee hearings, but obviously at the county level, what we have is we have city council meetings, and we've got for cities, and then there's commissioner hearings for what the county has going on. But at the state level, it's all with committee hearings. And what's actually good is every bill has a hearing where the public, and actually two, because there's going to be one for the House and another one for the Senate. so the public has the opportunity to speak at those, which is one thing that the state does right. And that can make a big difference if people are used to attending hearings and speaking at hearings. That's probably a plus, and I wouldn't say that's a necessity, but it'll just shorten the learning curve on them.
Okay, what about, so you bring up hearings, like the first thing I think about is, because a big thing, and I don't know this, like I know nothing about Robert's Rules of Orders. Everybody knows that, but would an understanding of Robert's Rules of Orders be something that would be important?
I mean, that's kind of important. They do use Robert's rules in the committee hearings, but the format is relatively simple, so I don't think that's crucial.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
basically, I mean, most of these hearings kind of work the same way. They usually give you 3 minutes to testify, and
Okay.
and I mean, typically I mean, they tell you when it's your turn to speak, so it's pretty simple. It's not hard to do, but people that are used to doing that, and there's a lot of strategy that goes into it, because if you know one of the people that are in the hearing, or one of the legislatures that are on the committee, they can just ask you questions, and it's like you get extra time. That's like a trick. So
personal relationships are important. So if you can bring
Mhm.
somebody in who knows how to build personal relationships and talk to somebody before a hearing and get them interested enough to ask questions during the hearing, that's a plus. That's a good thing to know. So so maybe when vetting candidates, is ask them who's on your listserv. Do you have anybody that you know? Because we would probably want to bring somebody in that's got some resources and some people, so they can walk in knowing people, right? I mean, that would be a good plus.
Yep.
And also probably somebody knows how to speech right too, because it sounds like if you have 3 minutes, you have to know how to condense a lot of information, and important information, right? Because you don't want to get up there and get somebody who just rambles for 2.5 of their 3 minutes, right? I mean, you want somebody who is very cohesive, knows how to hit the point, and actually hit the point so that people are interested enough to ask questions, right? I mean, that sounds like the strategy.
The other thing that's tricky about it, I mean, 2 things. One, it's hard to say a whole lot in 3 minutes. But the second is, what if a bunch of people say the same thing you're going to say before you get up there? You really need a backup speech that covers some new points. And that way you can just say, I agree with all these other people that have said this, but to avoid being repetitive, I'll talk about another reason why this pill is either bad or good.
Oh, good point. Good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. So you need somebody that actually has a plan A, that knows how to have several plans in their pocket, the A, B, C, D, E, F, C, D, whatever strategies. Yeah. So yeah, I can see that. So that's something else when vetting a legislative director, because again, when it comes down to it, we're a political party, right? And as a political party, we have to think about things like campaigns and legislative director. I mean, the other, like I'm the outreach director. So of course, outreach, is important to me. And, and things like, secretarial duties, that's important to me because you want things recorded. But when you get down to it, we are about getting candidates elected. And so this is something where we have to really, when we're looking at these positions on our board, these are really important positions.
Yeah. The legislative is huge, because it definitely provides extra visibility to the party too. Because whenever you're testifying, I mean, everybody who's there sees it. Like when we're testifying against a red flag bill, we had lots and lots of candidates, or not candidates, people from the Libertarian Party testifying against it, and it gave us a lot of good visibility. So I mean, it kind of stinks that it squeaked through, but I mean, the good thing is we did a good job legislating against it, and we almost won.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and almost win is almost the same as winning, huh? No.
No, it's not. But that way it's a good effort.
That's a loss.
It's unfortunate that we didn't pull it off, but we're close. I mean, we
Still a
delayed.
loss. We really got to remember that. I know we're really excited about when we almost win, but I really have to remind people that's a loss.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we do have a crap.
It's always a loss.
It's tons and tons of problems.
So, we again, that's why legislative directors are important. So that we don't have those we almost won moments, right? Especially on important legislation. Yeah, because these things matter. I mean, it literally changes the course of history. So we have to make sure that, when we vote for these people, we understand that, like in some of these cases, like the legislative director, we are literally voting to change the history of Colorado. I mean, this has a huge impact. And tomorrow we're going to be talking to the campaigns, person who's running for campaigns, and that's another one that has a chance, literally has the opportunity to change the course of history for the state of Colorado. So that's another very important position, which is why we save those for last. Because that's what really the party is about. So speaking of the convention that we've been preparing for, which is this Saturday, March 12th, Ross, where will the convention be?
The state convention will be at Lily Fresh Farms. That's located at 1833 County Road 53 in Keensburg, Colorado.
Which we have no idea where that is, because you've lived in Colorado your whole life, and I've been here for most of my life, and neither one of us know where that is.
I'd have to look it up, but I do think it's kind of I know it's in Weld County.
And we know that Google Maps will take you not there. This is what we have learned, is that Google Maps will take you not there. So be really careful if you go on it with Google Maps. You're going to get lost. So you may want to put some lead time in that.
Hopefully it's on County Road 50. It's got to be.
Yeah, we don't know when. But yeah, Google Maps will take you not there. So this has been something that people have been talking about. But there is a hotel because since it is in the middle of nowhere, there is a hotel that apparently there's a hotel like within 30 miles of it, which is shocking. And by the way, there will be no snow on Saturday. I've checked the weather. Even though it hasn't snowed, it's going to be snowing this week. There will not be snowing on Saturday. Knock on wood. And so that's the Best Western. And where is that at?
The Best Western is at 301 Bison Highway in Hudson, Colorado.
Right, because we don't know where Hudson is either. But Hudson, I've heard of Hudson. I've never heard of Kingsburg, which shows me what a front range snob I am. Right.
They're in different towns.
I know there's going to be cows. What time does credentialing start?
It's at 6:30 a.m. and the call to order is at 8 a.m.
Oh, that's so early, isn't it? Wow, that's
I know I'm not going to be there at 6:30. That's not going to happen.
You're the sergeant at arms. You have to be there at 6:30.
Oh, I'll be there by 8.
You're supposed to be there at 6:30. You haven't asked what time you're supposed to be. I mean, I think sergeant at arms is supposed to be there when the people start getting there, right? You may want to check with Wayne on that one, Ross. I think you signed up to be there at 6:30 in the morning. Sucks to be you.
Well, that's okay.
And your Google Maps is going to take you to someplace in Greeley. You're driving around Wyoming saying, "Where the hell am I?" Wayne will be texting you, Ross.
I'll be there the day before. So, because if it's 6:30 in the morning, me trying to find a place.
It's so dark.
Yeah.
Skunks and foxes are running across the road searching for food. Yeah, well, it's going to be fun. We're all going to get part of nature. Apparently, this next to a wildlife preserve. So, anybody who gets bored during the meeting, I can't imagine that happening. That they can just leave and go for a walk and go look at critters, which I can't see how this could go terribly wrong getting quorum. A bunch of libertarians out in the middle of a field, with wildlife everywhere, and they don't have to be in, quorum while everybody's arguing stuffy rules, and they think that people are actually going to come back in on a sunny day. It's like, yeah, that's not going to be herding cats for the entire day. Yeah. So let's see how this goes. It's fun. I would love to do a follow-up show just to say convention report, and then have everybody who is running it just showing them just banging their head against the wall. Like, we tried to get these people, we tried to hurt them. And by the way, did anybody find this place?
Well, that's the main part of the job of the sergeant in arms.
Hurting people?
Yeah, herd people back into the.
I heard that, and telling everybody what the Wi-Fi password is. Yeah. Yep. So if anybody who's watching this, if you want to know what the Wi-Fi if you find this place, if you want to know what the Wi-Fi password is, Ross is your guy. So just ask Ross, and Ross will have it for you. So, and if you get out of order, he's a pacifist. He's not gonna do anything. He'll find somebody else. So tomorrow we have, again, I'm just, I'm not going to announce the name because we can until he's officially here, but we do have the candidate for the campaign's director, and we're really proud of him because he's a Jeffco person. And so he's in our affiliate, and we love the guy, and we think he's doing an amazing job. We think he's an amazing worker, and and no, we're not, these things we're not supposed to support him. But if we could support somebody, I'm sure that that he would have the support of most of everybody in our affiliate, because he's just amazing. So I'm looking forward to talking to him tomorrow. And I don't think he's running against anybody. So it's going to be very, interesting, because maybe he knows if he's running against somebody. So we'll find out tomorrow. But now apparently nobody's running against anybody because, we don't know it.
Well, so far I haven't seen anybody running against anybody. So
it's the darndest thing. I mean, last year we at least knew of some candidates, but this year is like literally the only candidate we know of that is officially declared is our treasurer, which is a whew, because that one we really need. But yeah, I don't know if nobody's declaring because nobody's running, or if nobody's declaring because nobody's thought about it. If nobody's declaring because everybody wants to be a surprise on Saturday, which I just think that's a terrible idea, since it's a one-day convention and the agenda is packed, that I just can't imagine everybody walking in and declaring their candidacy and bogging down everybody with paperwork, and I don't see how that one's going to work. So I hope people who, if they're going to run, I hope they did declare it, if for no other reason, just to speed up the process so people can vet you. But the libertarians, right? They do what they do. But thankfully we don't have that many seats. It's not like we're voting in a whole new board this election. So that's a good thing.
that's a lot, yeah.
Yeah. So what we do want to, well, actually we'll do it tomorrow, because I wanted to do a plug for our affiliate, because we're going to have our Jeffco people. It's probably a whole Jeffco crew. We can plug our affiliate, but we will plug affiliates, which is, one of the things that came up in, at the 50th anniversary, we had a 50th anniversary celebration on December 11th. And I got to go to that. And this isn't like this isn't part of meet the candidates, but just a little side note, because the convention is coming up. We're going to meet a whole lot of libertarians across the state. And I just want to remind everybody, because this was really surprising at the 50th, but I was surprised how few practically nobody at this event knew what county affiliate they were in and hadn't been to a county meeting and hadn't met the people in their county and weren't involved in their county activism. And so I really encourage people, one, to go on the LPCO website and look at the county events. I mean, your counties have tons of events and opportunities to meet libertarians and get involved in things like legislation, campaigns, outreach, and all these other things, and actually run for these board positions. And that's really how you get involved. I mean, we hear people talk about wanting to do activism. It starts at the county level. And our county is extremely active. And we would love to have more people who want to be active, and so we encourage it, and I know the other counties really encourage it, and so that's where it starts. And so if you're interested in it, please look on the LPCO website and look under events, and you'll see all that, and that's how you can really get involved, right, Ross? And I know that there's a share plug.
Yeah, that's a really good location, and most of these, I think pretty much all of these affiliates also have Facebook pages, which is a pretty good place to get information also. Yeah. So, this is, and YouTube YouTube videos, like we're trying to get people back up on YouTube and things like that. So there are a lot of ways that, because I know that we have the Discord service. A lot of people don't like Discord because you have to, it shows your identity and things like that. So there are ways that you can go on, and we know how libertarians are about their privacy. So there are ways that you can look and be anonymous and just kind of share. You can sign up for our mailing list and things like that, and we can share information with you. So we would just love to see people involved. It's never a bad time to get involved with Liberty. So so with that, we would just really like to encourage everybody. And we'll be back here tomorrow, but this time with a human. So thankfully, we're going to end it with somebody. So we're looking forward to that. Any final thoughts for us? No, I think that's it. That's all I could think of. So, yep.
Okay. Well, we're over and out until tomorrow. Bye.
Yep. Good one.